Ask almost anyone how Amazon makes money, and they'll say the obvious thing. It's a store. You buy stuff. A box shows up on your porch. Simple. That answer is wrong, or at least it misses where the actual money comes from, because the part of Amazon that ships you boxes barely makes a profit at all. The engine that produces most of Amazon's actual earnings is something most customers have never knowingly used, can't see, and couldn't point to. It's invisible, and it prints money. Here's why this matters far beyond trivia. If you can't correctly answer, how does this company actually make money? You have no business investing a single dollar in it. And yet millions of people buy stocks in companies they understand about as well as they understand Amazon. Today I'll show you exactly how Amazon really makes its money, the hidden engine behind it, and, most importantly, how learning to see that engine is the first real skill of investing. Because before you ever buy a share of anything, you have to understand the business. Let's use Amazon to learn how. I'm Mr. Finance, and this is the first in a series where we crack open famous companies to find out how they actually make money, because that's the exact skill smart investing is built on. If that's your kind of thing, subscribing takes one tap. Now, let's start with the part everyone thinks they understand. Let's start with what everyone sees, the online store. And to be clear, it's gigantic. Amazon's retail operation, selling and shipping products, brings in the majority of the company's total revenue. Hundreds of billions of dollars flow through it. By sheer size, the store is enormous and very real. But here's the twist that breaks people's mental model. That giant store is barely profitable. Selling physical goods, warehousing them, and shipping them to your door is a brutally expensive, low-margin business. For every dollar of stuff Amazon sells, only a razor-thin sliver is left as profit after all the warehouses, trucks, packaging, and workers are paid. Retail is a business of pennies on the dollar, and Amazon runs it at massive scale precisely because each individual sale earns so little. This is the first lesson in reading a company. Revenue is not profit. A business can move enormous amounts of money and keep almost none of it. The store you picture when you think Amazon is high revenue and low profit. It's the loud, visible part, but it's not where the company actually gets rich. If you judged Amazon only by the store, you'd be looking at a giant that works incredibly hard to earn very little on each sale. So if the store barely profits, and Amazon is one of the most profitable companies on earth, where is the money actually coming from? To answer that, you have to look at the part of Amazon you've probably never seen, and once you see it, you'll never think about the company the same way again. Meet the real engine, Amazon Web Services, or AWS. And here's the wild part. Most people have used it every day without ever knowing. AWS is Amazon's cloud computing business. In plain terms, Amazon built enormous data centers full of computers, and it rents that computing power to other companies. When you stream a show, use an app, or visit a website, there's a very real chance it's running on Amazon's computers behind the scenes. Countless businesses, from tiny startups to giant corporations, pay Amazon to run their technology, so they don't have to build and maintain their own data centers. You never see AWS, but you touch it constantly. Now here's the number that reframes the entire company. AWS is only a modest slice of Amazon's total revenue, a fraction of what the store brings in, but it generates the majority of Amazon's operating profit. Read that again. The small-looking cloud business earns more actual profit than the gigantic store. How? Because renting computing power is a high-margin business. Once the data centers are built, each additional customer is enormously profitable, the opposite of shipping physical boxes. So Amazon is really two businesses wearing one name, a giant low-profit store that everyone sees, quietly supporting a smaller, high-profit cloud company that almost nobody sees, and the invisible one is the money engine. The store is the face, AWS is the wallet. This is the single most important fact about how Amazon makes money, and it's completely hidden from the everyday customer. And this is exactly the kind of thing an investor has to know, and a customer never does. Two people can look at the same company and see completely different things. One sees a place to buy socks, the other sees one of the most profitable cloud businesses on the planet. That difference in seeing is the difference this whole channel is about. Just when you think you've found the hidden engine, There's a third one growing fast, and it's one you literally look at without noticing: advertising. When you search for a product on Amazon, many of the first results you see are ads. Brands pay Amazon large sums to have their products appear at the top of your search, above everyone else's. Every one of those sponsored tags is a company paying Amazon for attention. And because Amazon knows exactly what you're shopping for at the moment you're ready to buy, that ad space is extraordinarily valuable. Arguably more valuable than almost any other advertising on earth, because it reaches people with their wallets already open. This advertising business has quietly grown into one of the largest ad operations in the world, worth tens of billions of dollars a year. And like the cloud, it's high margin. Amazon isn't shipping anything or building anything for these ad dollars. It's just selling prime placement on a page it already owns. That's close to pure profit stacked on top of the store it already runs. So now the picture sharpens. Amazon has a low-profit store that everyone sees, a high-profit cloud that nobody sees, and a fast-growing, high-profit ad business hiding in plain sight on the very pages you shop. The company you thought was a place that ships boxes is actually a technology and advertising profit machine that happens to also run the world's biggest store. The store isn't even the point anymore. Increasingly, it's the stage the more profitable acts perform on. Beyond the big three, Amazon has a handful of other clever money streams worth seeing, because they show how a great business stacks income in layers. First, Prime memberships. Millions of people pay Amazon a yearly fee just for the privilege of shopping there with fast shipping and streaming perks. That's billions of dollars in predictable, recurring revenue before a single product is sold. And just as importantly, Prime members buy far more often, which feeds the whole machine. The membership isn't really about the shipping. It's a loyalty lock that makes you choose Amazon by default. Second, the marketplace. A huge share of what's sold on Amazon isn't sold by Amazon at all. It's sold by other independent sellers using Amazon's platform. And Amazon charges those sellers fees for the privilege. A cut of each sale, fees for storing and shipping their goods through Amazon's warehouses, and more. Amazon effectively runs them all and charges rent to every shop inside it, earning money on sales it didn't even have to make itself. It's a landlord as much as a store. And then the smaller streams, subscription services, and the strategy behind cheap devices, selling a gadget close to cost, then earning steadily from the services and shopping it pulls you into for years afterward. Notice the pattern across all of it. Get you in the door somehow, then earn from you again and again over time. The best businesses rarely make money once. They build streams that keep paying. And here's why that pattern matters to an investor specifically. Recurring, repeating income is worth far more than a one-time sale, because it's predictable. A company that earns from you every month, through a membership, a subscription, or a business that can't easily leave its cloud provider, has a sturdier, more valuable engine than one that has to win a brand new sale every single time. When you look at any company, count how many of its money streams repeat on their own. Amazon has stacked several of them. That's not an accident. It's the blueprint of a durable business. Here's why we did all this, and it's the whole point. What you just learned about Amazon is exactly the thinking that separates people who invest wisely from people who gamble. Most people buy a stock because they like the product or recognize the name. I shop at Amazon, so I'll buy Amazon. But liking the storefront tells you almost nothing about how the company actually earns or whether it earns well. A real investor asks a different, deeper question about any business. Where does the money truly come from, and is that engine strong, growing, and defensible? For Amazon, the honest answer isn't the store. It's cloud computing and advertising, quietly subsidized by a store that keeps everyone loyal. You could only know that by looking past the obvious. This is the first skill of investing, and it applies to every company you'll ever consider. Don't buy the logo, understand the engine. Before you put money into any business, you should be able to explain, in a sentence, how it actually makes its profit, not its revenue, its profit, and why that will likely continue. If you can't, you're not investing, you're guessing with extra steps. Now, the essential honesty anchor. None of this is a recommendation to buy Amazon or any stock. Understanding a business is step one, not the whole job. Price matters, competition matters, risk matters, and even a wonderful company can be a poor investment if you overpay. What I'm handing you isn't a stock tip, it's the lens. And for most people, the smartest move is still to own the whole market through a low-cost index fund rather than betting on individual companies at all. But whether you buy one stock or 1,000 through a fund, the habit of asking, how does this actually make money, will make you a sharper, calmer, less fooled investor for the rest of your life. Amazon was just our practice case. So how does Amazon really make money? The store you see is huge but barely profitable. The profit actually comes from the parts you don't see. AWS, the invisible cloud that other companies run on, earns most of the operating income. A fast-growing advertising business quietly prints money on the pages you shop. And Prime, seller fees and services stack steady streams on top. Amazon is a tech and ads profit machine wearing the costume of a store. And the real takeaway isn't about Amazon at all. It's the lens. Before you invest in any company, learn where its profit truly comes from. See the engine, not the storefront. Do that, and you're already thinking like an investor instead of a shopper. You'll never look at an Amazon box the same way again. And that's the point. The company that ships you socks makes most of its money renting computers to the internet and selling attention to brands. The obvious story was never the real one. And that gap between what a company looks like and how it actually earns is where good investing begins. I won't pretend understanding one company makes you ready to pick stocks. It doesn't. And for most people, a simple index fund is still the wiser path. But the skill you just practiced, asking how does this really make money, is one you'll use forever, whether you're sizing up a single business or just trying to understand the world a little better. I'm Mr. Finance. Subscribe if you want more of this. Companies cracked open, the real engine revealed, and the investing lesson underneath. No hype. And tell me in the comments, which company should I break open next? Whose money engine do you think would surprise people the most? I read every single one.